Hello there, people of the internet. It is a beautiful morning out here in the state of Florida. Not that hot, not that cold, clear skies, very comfortable, birds chirping off in the background. And today I'm out here on the gun range, and I got my Delton DTI-15. This right here is a rifle that you guys have seen on the channel before. Anyone who's been around for any real length of time knows that I have my YouTube arsenal, and then I have my arsenal that is my own personal business, and that is the stuff that I would go to in the event that I need stuff for practical purposes. So, full disclosure, this right here is not my go-to rifle if I had to go to a rifle to protect my life and liberty. However, that being said, this right here is a rifle I show off on the YouTube channel, and as a result, I get a bunch of people in the comments whenever I break this rifle out, and they're normally divided into two different groups. I have the group of people that comes by and they tell me, hey, these, budget tier AR platforms are actually pretty damn good for the money that you spend on them. And then I have the group of people that come out and they tell me, hey, if it's not, a Daniel Defense or some other, Colt produced, if it's not $1,000 plus AR platform, then you shouldn't even bother with it because it's going to be unreliable garbage. And the fact of the matter is, with modern manufacturing and just how far the AR platform has come in the past 20 years or so, you don't need to spend a lot of money in order to get yourself a pretty damn decent quality rifle. This right here is one that I bought. I've made a ton of videos on it. I've got probably about, rough estimations, 2,000 or so rounds in it, probably closer to more like 2,500, but I'm just kind of spitballing here. But I got a lot of rounds through this thing, and I don't believe I've ever had any issues or malfunctions with it. I'll have to go through and rewatch some of my YouTube stuff, see if I had any issues. But I'm willing to bet if I did have any issues, it was while I was running this cheap steel case stuff, so I'm willing to bet whatever the issues were, if they occurred, they were probably ammunition-based issues. So whenever I got this rifle, I think I paid like $600 after taxes and transfer fees and shipping and whatnot. I think I dropped about 600 bucks on this rifle, and it's a very bare minimum basic AR platform. It's an aluminum receiver, so it's pretty lightweight. I got an M-LOK rail system on the handguard up here, Picatinny rail on the top of the handguard and the receiver, so I can mount optics and whatnot to it. I got just a dirt cheap little flashlight here on the side. And like I said before, whenever I get a bunch of people in the comments, they'll tell me, hey, since it's cheap, it's garbage. You don't want to use that for any real practical purposes. Well, I use this rifle, literally this exact rifle, all the time for cheap practical purposes, as a firearm that I don't care if it gets scratched or dinged up or anything like that. As a matter of fact, there's quite a few scratches on the finish of this thing already, simply because I use this rifle on a pretty regular basis. This right here, if you've been around on the channel, you know that this right here is my, nighttime coyote varmint gun. That's why I have this flashlight on it. This is a variable zoom flashlight, and it allows me to see out to some pretty significant distances. And with this cheapo little red dot on it, I mean, it holds zero pretty damn decently. As a matter of fact, I literally used this rifle right here to take out a coyote last night that was coming across our field to hassle some of the critters that we have here on my property. But I dropped about 600 bucks on the rifle. I think I paid like 30 bucks or something for this optic. It was really, really dirt cheap. Probably another 30 bucks for the flashlight and the mount right here. And then another 20 or so on these aluminum sights. These right here are metal sights, they're not polymer. I wanted to go ahead and get myself some actual metal sights as opposed to spending slightly less money on polymer sights. I figure I just go ahead and pay the extra 10 bucks for some aluminum ones, and that will definitely greatly increase the durability of the sights. And then I got myself just a cheapo QD sling swivel right here, which, I mean, the QD doesn't really matter, since down here I just have this part of the sling attached to a fixed point on my telescoping stock. And this sling is literally nothing more than a strap that I got off of a laptop case, and it actually works very well as a sling. It works better than some other slings would. Now my optic here, some astute among you will notice that the glass is cracked on it. Yeah, the glass is cracked, and that could potentially be a problem down the road. but I have noticed that I have had no problems retaining zero with this thing. So if it's not broke, well, if it is broke but still works, then why should you bother fixing it? So the optic, I'm going to go ahead and say right now, I would not trust my life on the optic. That is definitely something that I can say I would not do. For the people who are in the comments saying, hey, the optic is garbage, yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. If I was going to bet my life on something, I would not bet my life on the optic. However, the rifle itself, in terms of like the capabilities of this particular rifle, whenever I drop the 600 bucks on it, it's not like the most bottom of the barrel AR platform. But with the amount of ammunition that I've ran through this rifle, if I were to give it an actual setup with a proper optic, proper sights, proper stuff, then I would not have any problems betting my life on this rifle. It has been a very durable, very capable rifle, and I've definitely put it through its paces. I've gotten it dirty, I've gotten it muddy, I've given it all sorts of headache and issue, and it seems to continue to run through all of those no problem. So despite the fact that this is very much a budget tier AR platform, it still serves me pretty damn well. I literally use this for practical purposes. I use it for essentially what people would consider to be a ranch rifle out here. I don't really have a ranch out here, but I do live on a big open area of land in the middle of the woods here in Florida, and I do get tons and tons of critters that decide to come out here. And I use this rifle for practical purposes. A lot of times whenever I'm using this rifle to dispatch something, I'll use a 77 grain projectile, whereas whenever I'm out here on the gun range, I'll use just like cheapo 55 grain, simply because they are way more cost effective than the heavier 223 ammunition. Now, although I wouldn't bet my life on it, this optic right here should still be zeroed unless something magical happened. Obviously, I have banged around this rifle quite a few times, and well, it's got scratches and dings, and the optic's busted, and I've definitely smacked it around. But the optic continues to retain zero. Was that Kevin? Hi, Kevin, wherever you're at. The optic continues to retain zero, despite the fact that it is a budget option, or a budget optic. There's something alive right there. I'm going to try and stay away from that thing. Despite the fact that this is very much a budget optic, it continues to retain zero. And with it retaining zero, I'm still very much able to hit the things that I'm shooting at least at the 40 or 50 yards that I normally make my videos at, or if I'm firing off at any real distance. I may end up using my iron sights if I find that this cheapo budget tier optic may have had a wandering zero, but so far that has not happened. But I do know how budget optics work, so there is some leeway with the optic. I will give you guys that. I don't feel bad about using these aluminum iron sights here. I have smashed them around quite a few times. This one right here is dinged up quite a bit, and I would probably have some trouble re-zeroing that just with how messed up those threads right there are. So if I were to throw them on a different rifle, then maybe I would have an issue. However, on this rifle, I don't seem to have much of a problem with these right here, and they still look decent. This right here is still sitting exactly where it needs to be. Now, if you're going to go out and get yourself a budget tier AR platform, then my recommendation, take it out to the gun range and use it and run it whenever you buy yourself something new. That new rifle, that new platform is going to have a break-in period, and for the AR platform it's somewhere around like 200 rounds or so, and during that break-in period your firearm is likely going to malfunction a couple of times. This one right here did not have an issue with that. However, if you get into more budget tier AR platforms, quality control is going to be a little bit on the diminished side. That's why they're so budget tier, because the amount of time and effort that goes into producing those rifles is so much less than the time and effort that goes into producing a higher end, more pricey rifle. So as a result, if you buy yourself a random off-the-shelf AR platform that is a budget build, then the likelihood of that rifle being a lemon is higher than if you were to buy a higher end AR platform. And you don't want to find out that you have a lemon of a rifle if you are in the process of using that rifle to protect your life and liberty. The last thing you want is to grab your budget tier AR platform that you've never stuck any ammunition through, go out to defend yourself against whoever is breaking into your house, go bang, bang, click, and suddenly nothing's happened, and you go like this a couple of times, and you figure out you're not going in battery, and maybe there's something wrong with the bolt carrier group, maybe there's something wrong with the charging handle. As a matter of fact, I've had charging handles malfunction with this little pin right here on the back of the charging handle. I have no idea what I would call that, but there's a little pin right back here on the back of the charging handle that holds this little arm gripping mechanism onto the charging handle. I've had that walk out, and whenever that happened, I was just slightly out of battery. I could not run that AR platform, and it took me a minute to figure out what the hell was going on and how to fix that, and I needed tools to fix that, and that's not something that you want to figure out if you are in the middle of a situation where you're trying to use that rifle to protect your life. So you go bang, bang, click, and suddenly there's something wrong with your rifle because it's a budget tier AR that you've never ran to check out and make sure it functions properly. And maybe the guy down there, instead of going into, well, he goes into fight or flight mode, and he decides on fight instead of flight, and he starts sending rounds back at you, and you're now completely defenseless. There are excellent budget tier AR platforms out there. However, you got to make sure, if you're going to get a budget tier AR, to make sure that your particular budget tier AR is going to run with the ammunition that you decide to use. Like I said, I use 77 grain projectiles for handling most of the stuff that I have out here, and that definitely works for my particular situation. But if you're going to run 55 grain or 62 grain, which is definitely the more common grain of ammunition to run, then make sure that that is going to run through your rifle. Pay attention to the twist rate of your barrel, and pay attention to the weight of the projectiles that you run, depending on what it is that you choose. For the most part, even the budget tier ones are going to be, generally speaking, like a 1 in 9, 1 in 8, or a 1 in 7 twist. So some of those are better at stabilizing heavier or lighter projectiles than others. But that being said, all of them are going to be pretty damn decent at stabilizing 55 and 62 grain, which is going to be what most people are going to come across. And if you're looking for just a budget tier AR platform, then odds are you're going to get budget tier ammunition to go through that platform as well. You don't need the highest end AR if you know that your particular AR is going to function well. I actually really like this AR. It has definitely served me well. I'm probably going to replace that optic with an LPVO or something, because there have been times where in my particular area with what I deal with, there's been some stuff across the field going on, and my little tiny red dot, my non-zoomed red dot at 600 yards hitting a coyote-sized target has proven to be a little bit difficult. So I'm probably going to swap that out, but that's not the fault of the rifle. Anyway, folks, I appreciate your time. What are you guys' opinions on these budget tier AR platforms? My recommendation, yeah, go ahead and get yourself one. Just make sure that it works. So let me know what you guys' thoughts are in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share. Description below. Link to all sorts of stuff. Go check that out. You guys go off, have yourself a fantastic day. I'll see you all in the next episode.
Been a little while since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. Poor man's Garen. It's a shame that bolt action shotguns aren't or mainstream.